We're so glad you joined us on our heritage today. And I have one of my favorite people in the whole world, Mr. Lyle Slott, with us today because he knows the most stories, and I appreciate him coming in today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're going to be talking today about Gaskin Springs. So tell me a little bit about Gaskin Springs.
Well, the most I got into it, Carol, was when, after World War II, when I come home, when I was going to South Georgia College, we had a man in the neighborhood, Mr. Weathers, and he married a lady from out there, and I can't recall her name, but she was tied in with those Gaskins. And he wanted to do something to the grounds and make them presentable to everybody. And we started trying to help him because we liked him. Mm-hmm. He was a baseball fan, sure enough, and he'd been all over the world. He worked for the Westinghouse Corporation. He was an engineer. And I think he probably visited the Holy Lands many times.
Wonderful.
He told me he had been around the Horn of South Africa on a sailing ship twice. And he had gone to the Holy Land when he was real young and worked for the big Westinghouse Corporation. Mm-hmm. And the way it started was he got up a ball team, and a lot of the boys out there played ball with him, and they beat the Waycroft Bears, and which was good. And then he was easy to like. Mr. Weathers was a very nice fellow. I think he's a full-blooded Scotsman, probably an immigrant, because he come out of Boston. I don't know the details of his life, but the things he did for Gaskin Springs was remarkable. He looked things over and says, well, let's put up a tabernacle here. Mm-hmm. And said, we got plenty of help, haven't we? I said, yeah, we help you after school in the evening, you know, and come home. And there was 4 or 5 of us old boys from around Huffer would jump in there and help him with anything he wanted because we liked him so good. And Mr. Weathers designed and built the huge tabernacle that's there now, and we done a lot of the lifting and heavy stuff. He would work on something, and if you didn't like the strength of it, he wanted to be strong, and people use it a lot. And we worked one summer on that thing and got it going, and then a dynamic man named Woods, I think his name was M.J. Woods, from up around Middle Georgia, came in and had a revival. Mm-hmm. And that thing really got going then and grew and grew and grew. And at this time, it's a very nice place. Mm-hmm. They've redone the springs. You walk down to where the springs were. They never did go dry. But when I was real young, we'd go in there and kind of wade through the mud down to the lake and go swimming. It's called Spring Lake. Yeah. The spring feeds the lake. Mm-hmm. Never did go dry. Beautiful clear water, but you can't get to it much now. The thing is very historical, I think. I think the Indians had it a long time before the settlers came in and began to work on it.
That's very interesting. Somebody said there was a swimming pool there. About what time was the swimming pool done? Do you remember?
It was done probably in the 80s. Okay. There's a nice swimming pool there, and there's a place for them to eat. Right. A cafeteria, I think, and there's people from other places come there as a sort of a vacation, mm-hmm. and they have good cooking and they have good activity for the kids, and
were these revivals the kind we have now, or the old-timey kind?
They were more of the old-timey kind. Yeah, they preached fire and brimstone a lot then. You know,
all day and all night.
Oh man, they'd go at it. And I've been to a lot of different kinds, and they are mighty interesting because they just pound on that fact about you definitely got to see if your ways are right, and if they're not right, go to work on them and do something about it. And it was good. And
did they bring picnics or?
Yeah, well, to start with they did, and then they put in the kitchen and they put in the dining hall, and at this time they got a nice dining hall and a kitchen out there. And it's well cared for, really, really is. Mm-hmm. the grounds are clean, and overhanging oaks with the moss on them is pretty. And there's a walk down to the spring, and it's all very, very nice.
Did you have any memories of Gaskin Springs as a young guy that you'd like to share with us?
As a young guy, it was in that period. See, I was born in 1925, and when I got about 14 years old, we just went everywhere. But we had to ride a bicycle or walk. But Gaskin Springs at that time, Carol, it was a time of, it was dormant.
Right.
Before that, I've heard a lot of stories told about how in the developing days when it was first discovered and the man Gaskins owned it, there was a small hotel there. And there was a wooden bridge from the Douglas side, not out to 221, but from the Douglas side, that you could go in there through the swamp and drive your vehicle or horse and buggy or whatever you had. And it grew by leaps and bounds for a while, and then I think that original Mr. Gaskins died, and when he died, it sort of died too. Mr. Weathers, a man from up in Massachusetts, come down and married one of those ladies, and he really intended to fix it up.
Right.
And he did. He was a hard worker, a good man, and well liked, and the finest Sunday school teacher you ever saw. And we enjoyed working with him.
Well, that's great. When you were in Huffer, how long did it take you to get to Gaskin Springs? On a bike or walk?
Yeah, well, we usually allow ourselves about an hour. Sometimes somebody pick us up in a pickup truck, put the bicycle in the back, but we'd go out there and go swimming. And then close by was old Lakeside, and they was always working on a swimming pool there, and they finally got a pretty nice pool. And it was a pavilion where young couples would go dance and just have a good time.
Well, who owned that?
It changed hands a lot of times, but some of the Gaskins originally owned it. And then Mr. Register bought it, and his daughter and her husband ran it. And I was trying to think what her name was. But anyhow, his name was Register. He was a tobacco man. And they always had somebody out there cleaning up and working and making the springs prettier and things of that sort.
Was it just a restaurant, or was it just a supper club?
It was just a club, a honky-tonk like thing, you call it, but it was respectable. You know? And when they had it as a club, you had to join. Right. Because it was a dry county and they served beer out there. But they had bands come in, and it was something else in its day.
Good place to go and have fun.
Yes, sir. Good, clean fun.
I appreciate you coming to talk to me today, Mr. Lice, and I'm going to make a schedule for you to come back.
Well, thank you for being so nice. I didn't know I did that well.
Oh, you did. You did super. You're one of the few people that I can depend on what they say.
Well, I hope you can.
I know I can.
Sometimes something slips up here.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Southern Eagle Distributors present J.J. Gray and Mofro on Friday, September 9th at the South Georgia Barbecue and Outdoor Festival in Douglas, Georgia.
I don't care what you say to me.
Also featuring KOA and the Laney Strickland Band. Buy the early bird ticket now and save. Visit rockdogentertainment.com for additional info. Don't miss J.J. Gray and Mofro at the South Georgia Barbecue and Outdoor Festival. Sponsored by Fulco Drugs and by Shiver Carts of Tifton and Valdosta.
Don't miss the South Georgia Barbecue and Outdoor Festival in Douglas, Georgia at Central Square Complex, Friday, September 9th and Saturday, September 10th. GBA BBQ competition with cash and prize giveaways. There'll be plenty of food vendors, arts and crafts, hunting, fishing, and outdoor vendors, motorcycle events, and car show. Friday night concert at 6:30 p.m. featuring J.J. Gray and Mofro. Call 912-383-0277 for more information. This show is brought to you by these great sponsors.
Welcome back. We have two guests that did this many years ago, and we're here for an update. We have Jean Boland and Jerry Ray. Yes, this is my mother. These are both members of the nursing profession for many years, and I saw recently on Facebook where a BS in nursing is the hardest degree to earn compared to the hours and the work that's put in to get that degree. So we're going to go back a few years and see what their nursing school was like and their day was like as a nursing student and start there. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. I also saw on Facebook a quote where it says, "Never underestimate an old woman with a nursing degree."
So we'll be careful with you too.
That's right.
Okay, I know y'all didn't go to school in the same place.
No.
Okay, let's start with you, Jean.
Okay, I went to Crawford W. Long Memorial Hospital in Atlanta in 1950.
Okay.
It was a 3-year diploma program, and you went the whole 3 years. You maybe got a week's vacation in that time, and you worked any shift they wanted you to, days, evenings, and nights. And most of my time was spent in evenings. But
So they would tell you where to work and you didn't argue with them.
no. But first, in our first 6 months, we went to college. We got college courses, and we went to what was the garage at that Georgia State, but it was a parking garage that had been turned into the school, and we walked from Crawford Long to the.
You walked downtown Atlanta
We did.
at night.
No, it was in the daytime.
Okay.
But then you could have walked at night, you know. What was that? 60 years ago, maybe. And we swam in the YMCA swimming pool. We had to take swimming lessons, and so we got our education and worked at the same time.
And they moved you to different areas in the hospital.
Yeah, and you essentially worked your way through nurses training. And I think my tuition, Mother and Daddy paid $100 my tuition to go to nursing school.
Wow.
But they, supplied uniforms and books, but you worked.
But you earned it. You earned it.
You really did.
Okay, Mama?
Well, now let me see. I'm a little ahead of Jean in years, okay? So I was already out of nursing school when Jean started nursing school. I left and went to Savannah to Warren A. Candler Hospital School of Nursing in 1946. And we did the same thing Jean did. I don't remember the amount of tuition, but it was very little because you worked and went to school. Now, I didn't have 6 months of just college because in our first 6 months, we went to college in the morning. We had nursing classes in the afternoon, and then we worked the night shift for 4 hours. We were the first class of regular nursing students after the Cadet Corps closed. The class just ahead of me had been the Cadet Corps during World War II. During World War II, they were paid a stipend to go to nursing school so they would be ready to go into the Army when they graduated. Now, I don't remember too many hard times in there. About the hardest time I had in nursing school was when we had a coastal storm, and there was a plane load of people from Cuba, and the plane went down in the swamps, in the marshlands. Back then, Savannah had some marshlands. Now it's all built up. And I happened to be in the emergency room that night. And the hardest thing I had to deal with was body parts of children coming in on the ambulance. That made me think about leaving, but I decided to stay. I guess the next traumatic thing that happened to me when I graduated, I was told I